Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a sharp game to share with you from the 2025 Speed Chess Championship. On the white end, Jose Martinez playing against Magnus Carlsen. Alright, this was played on October 13th. Time controls, 5+1. We have an open Sicilian, and with e5, Sveshnikov variation, knight d to b5, d6. Two most popular moves here, bishop g5, and the move in the game, knight d5. Knight d5 forces knight captures knight with the fork nearby, so there we go. Structural change with the pawn recapturing, knight goes back home, majorities for each. Queen side for white, king side for black, g4, an energetic follow-up. Already looking to interfere with Carlsen's majority, advancing, holding up, an f5 idea. Not without its drawbacks, to be sure. 4 holes created with just this one swing. Bishop e7, bishop e3. The pressure on a7 is not yet a threat. Carlsen continues to develop here. Knight d7. If either piece captures on a7, rook captures, queen a5 is there in the end, landing a fork. The trade of all of these, this material benefits black. Okay, so we have queen f3, knight f6, pop quiz. How would you respond here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, there's pressure on g4. The correct way to address this pressure is by controlling g4. h3. Now, moves that might be tempting here. g5, fail to knight g4, targeting the bishop, targeting the pawn. The knight will successfully track down the bishop. Now, if the bishop is saved, let's say it goes here, hanging on to this, with h3 next, the correct way to approach this position would be with a6. Make sure to give this knight a kick. If you capture away on g5 too soon, these squares are opened up for the knight to land a fork. Let me show you what this looks like. Even better than this one is knight d6. Hitting these two, follow up knight f7 with another fork. And the knight goes on a rampage there. So with this line, the knight would be given a kick, and only then do you go ahead and collect the pawn. It is important, in short, to keep the knight off of the g4 square. Note, it is not enough to say, let's put the rook here, and then look forward to pushing. h5 would be a nice follow-up. And there's going to be an open file for the rook. If you respond here, same story. Knight g4 move is very strong, even targeting h2 in that position. Okay. The correct way in this game, h3, h6, stabilizing the knight, queenside castles, knight kicked, and we continue with development now. Bishop d7, and from here bishop d3 is played. Now, what the computer is drawn to at this stage rather than bishop development, it's leaning towards rook g1 now. Rook g1 with h4, and next g5. Okay, we have instead bishop d3, and no castles just yet. This could be very dangerous, this idea. This g5 break, open g-file. The rook sticks around right here. King is cool, still in the center. It's not going to blast open anytime soon. A lot of times you just bring it to this moment where you're to move away and you make progress on the other wing. We see that with rook c8, and this already grabs white's attention. Thematic, exchange sacrifice nearby. Bishop d2, covering that idea. b5, king b1, queen c7, bishop c1, Evaluation around here is equal. Follow up b4. Pop quiz, how would you respond here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, white ends up blundering a pawn here. Plays knight e4, and knight captures d5 is there. I believe white thought in that position there was a trick. I'll touch on what I think that is soon enough. Here's the top line, knight e2, stay trained on d5, and after queen improvement, attack, defense, knight g3 says keep the knight off of f5, calls it equal. Okay, in this game we have knight e4, knight d5 can be picked up. What's the move? I believe white missed here. Well, bishop captures a6, I think, was maybe running through his mind this double attack idea. A fine response here is to just react to this threat. Rook a8, there is a rook, queen captures c2 there, but this seems simplest, especially for a blitz game, less calculation. If rook captures knight, rook captures bishop, there's an open line now for black to work with. So very risky to play in this way. Okay, we don't see bishop captures pawn. Instead, it is knight g3. Here's the top line at this stage here. With this top line I'm putting on, evaluation in the end is reading about -1. Wants to go at knight captures d6. In the case of queen captures knight, there's bishop e4, hammering away at the pinned knight. It says best would be to take with the bishop here and meet queen captures knight with this skewer. Queen falling back, bishop captures rook next, about -1. Okay, we don't see the capture on d6, it's knight g3. Follow up bishop e6, taking full advantage of this pawn loss by white. No d5 pawn, bishop e6 now available, pointing right at the pawn here on a2 indirectly. Follow up king a1 out of any knight c3 moves with check, queen a5, bishop f5, pop quiz, what is your move here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, Carlsen ends up castling here. This is a winning way. Let me first touch on a move that is tempting, but not best. Knight c3, this triple attack now on a2 could be addressed by capturing the bishop, removing one attacker, temporarily defending the mate threat, and after the bishop is picked up, now you could take the knight. Prefers white here by just a little bit, not quite +1. Okay, not winning here for black. What is another winning path, in addition to castles, it likes knight e3. This is a pretty move. Targeting the rook, targeting c2, threatening mate. And with this line, if bishop captures bishop, now there is first knight captures c2 with check, and only then do you go ahead and collect the bishop. This is considered winning for black. Okay, Carlsen, patient here, no rush, unmasking the bishop. He first castles, follow up g5, and now we see the knight drop in to c3. This is crushing. From here, a3 is played, a sad move, but okay, I guess this is the best try at this stage. The rook ends up falling next. Here's the thing, now that castles is in, now that there's a rook on f8, if white takes time out to take the bishop here, the pawn recaptures, and look at this sad situation. Queen is hit, and the king is ready to fall. And you'd have to give up the queen here to save the king. So this is not working out. The try here is with a3, material falls, not even recapturing here. If you recapture, you're just getting broken down. The attack is there first for Carlsen, and he's still up material. So the try here is with the capture on h6, but after pawn captures pawn, that's move 25. White resigns. If the game continued, first of all, there's a main 2 threat. Pawn takes pawn, double check, followed by queen a1, mate. Any reaction by this pawn, push or a capture, it can both be met with queen c3 here, it's saying even better, rook c3 going in for the kill, but this is simplest. If you want to just make sure there's no problems here for your own king, get the queens off, and you're up full rook here. So a big pawn, to be sure, ends up dropping in this one. That d5 pawn taken full advantage of. Bishop e6, no pawn around. To control that square, he fired right away at a2. Position quickly collapsed there for white. Anyhow, your thoughts with this one, feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.